this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm back again with that Victorian album that we have been making this junk journal from, and we're doing a ring bound journal. So far we used 5 pages and we backed them onto these, which are the damask pages that are in my Etsy shop. And what I thought we could do now is, whenever I do a ring bound journal, because I really like to do them quite you know, extravagant and lots of decorative details. So what I like to do to incorporate, you know, some pages for journaling is just literally add like some plain pages, like in a chunk, in a section into the journal, if that makes sense. So what I've got here, I've just got a selection of, I've got these ones which are food coloured on this beautiful kind of, or in this beautiful coloured, like, I don't know, pale amethyst or lilac, I'm not sure what you'd call it. I've got those, and I've also got these which are coffee dyed. So I might, oh actually there's only one there. I might have a mixture. Now the printer is also printing at the moment some of the damask pages. So I might also have some of those, which perhaps I would coffee dye on the back, or, you know, just dress ink on the back or something like that. We'll kind of see, but it's just basically to give you, you know, yeah, you know, working room, if you see what I mean. Because obviously the pages that we've done so far, they're quite decorative. So, you know, you do need obviously some journal type pages, don't you? So this is just a way that I think is quite good to do, because it allows you those pages whilst also then allowing you kind of maximum decorative pages also at the same time, if that makes sense. So just going to fold this up. Now the reason I've done this is because I then suddenly thought, oh, actually on this page I could do this as a pocket. So again, I haven't ever done this before. Now I'm just using my folds as the guide for where to cut this. So, you know, if you haven't kind of caught my channel before, I do not like measuring. I don't like using paper trimmers or anything like that. So this for me is just a quick and easy way to, you know, mark where I need to make my, you know, my cuts. So like that. Now let me check that this is kind of good size. Yep. Because I've gone with these pages and I wanted to keep obviously the entire design, you know, around each frame, the pages have had to actually be quite big. So this is bigger than, you know, what I would typically make as a ring bound journal, but hopefully it's going to be lovely. So yeah, this one I'm kind of thinking actually we could just keep this folded over like a pocket. You know, I don't think I've ever really kind of done that before, but yeah, let's do that. And in fact, I might do that with a couple. So I might take another one. So for instance, this like amethysty colour. Just going to again do exactly the same, fold it over using the, you know, the one that I've just done as a guide. So squish that down like that, and then just, yeah, fold that over here. Actually do it that side because I've got a bit of a creased up corner, so we'll just eliminate that by doing it like this. Okay. Oh, it's so chilly today. And again, for anyone who doesn't watch my channel, and I say this all the time, so it's so boring if you do watch my channel, but I film ahead. So if I'm filming this and the weather is glorious out there, trust me, it's not glorious right now. Well, it is a glorious day, actually. It's one of those crisp, sunny, cold days. But hence, you know, it is very, very, very chilly out there today. So, yeah. But it could be, you know, by the time this video goes up, who knows, it could be the summer, it could be, you know, blazing hot temperatures. So, okay. Right, let's just trim that down. And again, you know, I probably have not got these very straight, but I'm not going to get myself too stressed about that because, you know, really it doesn't kind of matter too much. So these ones I'm just going to take and just cut using these as a template. So just pop that there. Again, you know, very shoddy methods going on here. This is not the best way to cut this because I've got 3 sheets here, and, you know, what happens is your sheets then move and you end up with a sort of crooked line on your edge. But I'll tidy that up, hopefully, you know. Okay, so I have not got a very straight line across the top. We'll just kind of go in and just tidy that. you know, we're making a junk journal. We're not making, you know, I don't know, something to go into an art gallery. So, you know, does it really matter? So long as the end piece looks pretty, you know, looks pretty and actually serves the purpose that you've intended, you know, be that, you know, something beautiful and tactile to look through, or something, you know, practical, you know, to actually journal in. You know, so long as you kind of achieve that, then that's good enough really, isn't it? So yeah, these are my starting blank pages. Now I probably will add some more to these because obviously I've only got, you know, 5 pages here. But straight away you can see, I mean, that 5 pages is actually, you know, 10 sides. So, you know, what starts out kind of very minimal, it builds up very quickly. So yeah, I will kind of obviously punch the holes, and then these will just slot in wherever kind of looks like a good point to, you know, pop them into the journal, if you see what I mean. And then what I might do is do like another 5 and put them somewhere else. So for instance, we'd have 5, you know, we could have 5 in there, or, you know, 5 in here, and then 5 in here. So it, you know, then you've got quite a good amount of journaling space. So these ones here, obviously, like I say, I might make into pockets. Never done this before, you know, in a kind of ring bound journal. I'd normally just have these completely plain pages, but yeah, as soon as I folded it up, I thought, well, actually I could just keep them folded up as, you know, a big giant pocket, which actually then, you know, you could tuck kind of bits into that, which would then be even more journaling. So it's a kind of extra way of, or another way of getting extra journaling, isn't it? Now I've been using predominantly in here, I've been using my Paisley digis, and I've also used my green buildings, historical buildings. So for instance, on this page, I've got, you know, the Paisley and the damask, sorry, not Paisley, damask pages, and then the historical buildings ones. So again, you know, to try and keep the continuity going and keep the theme kind of similar in, you know, in the journal, what I will do is kind of cover this section, so i.e. the pocket, with some of those papers. So I'm just having a look to see what I've got. So I've got some of the historical buildings ones here. I'm just going to have a quick sip of my tea. Hold on. Oh, I had to just quickly swig that down. Yeah, so we could have this, or we could have the damask. Now I'm just thinking what we could do is actually kind of tear off a portion of this and have it in the background. Because although then I'm sort of, you know, covering up what would be technically a journal type page, i.e., you know, a coffee dyed page for journaling, because we're making this a ginormous pocket, that's not really going to matter too much, because actually you're going to have this big pocket that you could put something in anyway. So I don't think that matters. And then what I'll probably do is leave the back plain. So the back is then still plain for journaling. So that way you've got, you know, the best of both worlds, haven't you? You've got some for journaling and you've got some for, you know, decorative bits. But ultimately, you know, it doesn't matter, because as I say, this is going to then have a massive pocket where you can put other things for your journaling pages anyway. So I'm just going to go in with my architecture green historical buildings page, and I'll just pop that down onto the back. And actually, I mean, I'm putting this down flat, but to be honest, I could have probably put this down as a pocket and just glued it on 3 sides, and then you'd have had a little side loading pockets as well. It didn't occur to me to do that, so hence I'm just, you know, putting it down as it is. But yeah, definitely I think that would have worked fine. So that would have been an option to be able to do that. So just again, spread my glue out. Okay. Like that. Okay, and then this one here, like I say, I'm just going to put that damask. I'm just going to get a wipe so that I've got a wipe here for, you know, wiping any excess glue when it comes out. So here, I'm just going to tidy that top bit up. Okay. Right, then we're going to just put our damask down here. So I'm just going to put it sideways. It's fine, it doesn't matter. So again, I will just then put my glue down onto the, the pocket piece itself. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Maybe you are doing some crafting, having a nice time. I'd love to hear what you're working on. I'm going to do it this way up. Like that. And then I can just cut it down along that, cut edge rather than the folded edge. Just because, again, that's just, something I find easier. And these are just the types of things that I think, you pick up over time, don't you? And think, well, actually, I find it easier to cut against a sliced edge rather than a folded edge. Because if I cut across or alongside the fold, sometimes I go a bit too close and I end up cutting into the fold. So yeah, that's just kind of obviously something that I've kind of picked up over time and thought, that doesn't work great for me. So just cut this down here. Okay. Like that. Okie dokie. Right, looking good. Oops. Take that down a bit here and across here. Okay, looking good. Right. So then what I'll do is I will probably just take this across to the sewing machine and stitch it around. Now, whether or not I'll stitch around the whole page, I might do. It doesn't matter really. If I do, that's just purely for decoration. It's not going to be serving a purpose to be stitched all around. It's just going to be that it will look pretty. So I'm just going to ink this up obviously first, because otherwise it might be hard to get to once it's actually, stitched in or stitched flat. So yeah, just like that. And this one here. Should have probably inked this page before gluing it in, but never mind, I'll just quickly do it now. Okay, and then just a bit around that edge as well. Again, just go so it's got that sort of continuity flowing through. Okay, so that's that one. So I'm just going to put that to one side, and then we'll just bring in the lilac one. Now, I know this does sound very strange, doesn't it? Because, there's not actually really anything lilac particularly in the Victorian album that we've been using. But for some reason, just on that very first page we did, if you've been following along, the lilac seemed to just go. So yeah, it's ended up that we've incorporated the lilac in there. So yeah, very, very bizarre. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but anyway, it did, and it does seem to work. So just having a look to see what we'd like to do on this one. So obviously, this is a kind of peculiar colour combination to be mixing up with this. So what I could do, because we have used the blue damask in the, in the album that we've been making as well, or in the journal that we've been making, could use that because, maybe that will go better. Could use this shade of green. We've got some of this obviously left. That might look quite good. Yeah, that's quite nice. Oh, it's a tough one, this is. Let me just trim this down a bit because it's not looking all that straight. I'm not sure whether I've made that look even worse, to be honest, but anyway, you can put that on down on there, like that, and then trim that around. Yeah, I just kind of prefer that, I think, to the bright green on here. So again, just go round my pocket just to glue this down. And to be honest, I mean, I haven't really thought far enough down the line to think whether I'm going to have something on the back of this, i.e. on this section, or whether I will actually keep this one plain. We'll have a look in a second and see how it looks. But also don't forget, we have got the Victorian album itself. We've been using the faux Victorian album, the reproduction kind of Victorian album. So obviously I've got quite a lot of that left that we could obviously use some of those bits on here. So squish this down nicely. Okie dokie. Right, so let's just trim around here. Honestly, this has been a kind of like scary project for me because it's really kind of out of my comfort zone, you know, mixing a lot of different things into this journal. So, I mean, I feel nervous and really just still praying to goodness that it's actually going to look neat and nice at the end and not just like a random bunch of awful clashy looking stuff that's just been chucked together with no thought. You know, hopefully it's going to look nice. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a bit of a kind of test really, because well, not a test, but you know, a bit of a challenge, because you know, I'm much more drawn to kind of the whole matchy things. So obviously this is, you know, this is as far from matchy as it could possibly get. You know, we've got a lot of different things going on in this journal. So yeah, it feels very you know, risky for me, kind of like a bit of a gamble type piece. So for instance, like here, these are some of the bits from the Victorian album that we've got left. So I'm just going to cut these out. And obviously I do have more bits, you know, that I could also bring in, because I've got a lot of pages that we did not use from the Victorian album. So, you know, please don't think this is the extent of what we've got. I've got the whole rest of that book to use. So, but I'm trying to use kind of all the bits that I cut out first, before I kind of delve back into the book and get more pages out, because I think, well, I might as well use everything that I originally tore out, and then, you know, only if I need to get other bits, bring them in. So yeah, so I'll just cut this out. Okay, now I have been inking these bits and pieces, you know, partly because obviously they're kiss cut rather than fussy cut, you know, close fussy cut, but yeah, I think they just look better kind of being inked anyway. So, and again, you know, this is a bit of a sort of mishmash, because obviously I've got the blue now on there, which is a bit like, whoa, what's she doing? Why is she adding blue to that? But you know, it maybe looks quite nice. So just going to see what else we could add. So I've got these roses. These were just cut off of one of my, you know, background pages from the Junk Journal Basics kit. So again, just having a look. Now what I'm going to do at this point is bring in a couple of the pages that we have made. So I kind of refresh my memory. I haven't worked on this for a couple of days, to kind of just get a feel, is this going to look really, what's she thinking? Or is it actually going to kind of like, you know, tone in more or less with the theme that I've had running through the rest of the book. So if I just kind of put it here, obviously it's not necessarily going to be next to any of these pages. So from that point of view, it's not really a kind of big deal. But I want to make sure that it's, you know, it's going to look in place, not suddenly like plucked out of nowhere, out of place. So for me, I think that does look, you know, reasonably in place, you know, reasonably, yeah, like a coherent kind of look. So I'm going to glue this down. And again, you know, this is some of my damask pages that we've used elsewhere. So, you know, it's keeping that continuity and that theme going through. So, although, you know, again, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, she's now adding blue. We've got a couple of blue pages in here. So, you know, it's not quite as out of nowhere as it does appear. I mean, I don't know whether I'm trying to convince you guys or convince myself, but yeah, okay. So, I mean, you know, hopefully just by the end of this journal, it's going to have a really, really, really different feel to, you know, probably anything else really that I've created ever. You know, it's really going to be very, very different. But, I mean, that's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting to create really different things. You know, who wants to just create the same old stuff all the time? So, hopefully we're going to end up with just like a really, like, yeah, awesome kind of feast for the eyes. So just put these down here. These roses, like I say, they're from the Junk Journal Basics kit, but they just are going really nicely actually with this Victorian album set, you know, of pages, because yeah, they're containing some similar colours. They look, to me, they look quite Victorian. And they just, yeah, they just look really, really nice. So going to kind of tentatively put that like that. Now, did we use some of these anywhere, or did we only use the green ones? Again, can't really remember. It's so funny how, you know, very quickly you can forget what you've been doing. You know, I've just literally had a couple of days doing other things, and now I feel like, you know, this is all like a new project, and I'm again like, oh, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Where was I doing that? You know, it's not taken me very long to get out of this at all. So, but I know that I did definitely use these green labels. So definitely they are a, you know, we can go for those. So I'm just wondering, I could have kind of one of the label pieces down here, and then we've got some of the other bits from the Victorian album. So I'm thinking we could, you know, could maybe have those. Got this little blue flower, which, I mean, it's very tiny, but it would tie that blue in. So I'm just going to cut that out. Okay. Right, glasses on again. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, I'm being led by the album really with the eclectic kind of assortment of colours. You know, there are lots of colours used in that album. So I'm just kind of, yeah, letting it guide me really. And, you know, sticking with that theme of using lots of different colours. So again, just ink this up a bit. Like that. And that just ties in, you know, the blue from over here, which I just think looks really, really nice, doesn't it? So I'm just going to hold that down for a moment. And the other thing that we did was we incorporated this beautiful pale blue lace on a couple of pages. So I'm actually wondering whether we could have this somewhere. Oh, that maybe looks a bit of an eyesore actually. So hang on, let's try it down there. No, 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 no. What about on this edge? I mean, I would like to have some sort of lace on here. I don't know whether this is too much, i.e., you know, it's too big a piece. Or whether actually it's because it's, you know, yet another colour being added to the mix. But yeah, I'm not thinking that looks too brilliant. It's got to be said. I'm just going to cut out just a small portion to see whether, you know, it could just be that actually it just needs a small piece of lace rather than that big amount. I mean, straight away that looks better, doesn't it? You know, so I mean, it could just be a volume issue, you know, that I just had way too much stuff on there. I mean, that's quite nice. Or we could have it over and have this little flower kind of on there. Could have it a little bit ruffled, I suppose, you know, more like that in the corner. I didn't ink this up actually, so I'm just going to ink across here. And then just a bit across the bottom. Okay, yep, that looks pretty. Could have it like that, I suppose, or over. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. So I might just leave that for the minute. So what I might do is definitely like this flower. So I'm just going to glue that down. Now I'm just being really lazy and hot gluing this just for speed. And again, because it's on this very thick sort of card, you know, because that Victorian album book, you know, they're very thick elements. Oops, just taking that off. You know, it's quite good to glue it down with the hot glue, to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to take those 2 pages to the sewing machine and just stitch around the pages to, you know, form the pockets and close the pocket up. And then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm back from the sewing machine and I did stitch around the entire edges rather than just around the pocket. So it just kind of makes a bit more of the page, doesn't it? And, you know, kind of just adds a little bit more interest, I suppose. So just taking those threads off. Yeah, I'm still not decided down here. I'm not sure about that at all. Here I've just got this little kind of basket of flowers, again from the Victorian book. So just going to ink that up. and just see if we could put anything else there. So I'm thinking possibly this oval frame, so just cut this down. Okay. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do for a cover for this journal, so you know, I need to kind of have a bit of a think about that as well. Yeah, I haven't quite decided. Obviously it's, you know, it's a ring bound journal, but yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to actually be using using as the cover. But yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal, you know. I don't know. I think possibly this would benefit from a hard cover rather than a soft cover, because obviously it's got a lot of thick elements, and you know, the Victorian pages are thick, so it may seem a bit strange to then have thin, you know, thin covers, i.e. floppy soft covers. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll just have to kind of have a see really what's going to look best. So that's just a label from my Junk Journal Basics, which again, it was just floating on the desk, and I just thought, well, let's just try it up there. So let's just have a bit of a look here. I mean, maybe something like that looks quite nice. And then, you know, maybe even kind of add a butterfly or something on here as well. You know, might look quite pretty. I mean, I was thinking, you know, add something across this pocket. I mean, this lace is completely different colour, nothing else. Yeah, nothing else of that colour in the whole journal, so it's possibly a bit strange to add that. Same with this really. It's kind of adding a new colour, you know, that, you know, that's probably a bit odd, isn't it, to suddenly now add yet another colour really. We did use that sari silk, however, yeah, which I had forgotten about that, but actually we did use the sari silk. So now I'm thinking, I mean, I love using the sari silk kind of ruffled up. So let's just have a look whether or not I've got any of that lovely green left. I've only got this, which is very thin. So this is better once, you know, once it's thin like this, it's better to make bows and things like that with really. I've got this green lace. This is just left from that Build Your Own Folio project that we did just, you know, before Christmas. Let's just have a look. What we could do is have a little bit of this maybe behind this label. Let's see. Could have that like that. I don't know. This is really, really, really tricky to decide. I've also got, yes, this is again from that Junk Journal Basics kit, so it's just some kind of leftovery bits. So I'm just going to cut out this rose. You do get some of these roses, you know, to fussy cut out, but this one just happens to be, you know, a little scrap of the paper left over, so I might just, you know, cut this down. Because if it's kind of like tucked down into somewhere anyway, you know, this little corner doesn't really matter. It would be hidden. So yeah, let's take that. Now, I mean, it's just again for the sort of continuity throughout the journal, so we're getting similar colours, you know, everywhere really. So that's kind of the only reason why I'm, you know, debating about that really, is because it would kind of bring other bits in, if that makes sense. So just having a look to see whether I've got oh, actually I've got this butterfly from the Junk Journal Basics kit as well, so let me just take this down, because I'm feeling a butterfly would be pretty good here, wouldn't it? You know, if in doubt, add a butterfly, I think. So they always just work so brilliantly. You know, butterflies are just one of those things that always look good. Okay. And to be honest, I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of those, you know, the Victorian scrap pieces, you know, they are very eclectic colours and things like that. So, you know, if you're kind of thinking, oh my goodness, she's going all over the show. Actually, those Victorian scrap pieces, they were a bit like that. So, you know, although I'm probably just trying to convince myself here, there was an element of, you know, all different colours in those Victorian scraps pieces, you know. When you see like the Victorian scrap albums, they did have a very eclectic kind of look to them. So, you know, and they did incorporate all different colours. I mean, that's not bad, but it's not the same colour as we have been using, obviously, because I don't think I've got any more of that colour. But, you know, just finding something that might tone is, you know, probably good enough, isn't it? So, problem is, I mean, I love green, but weirdly enough, that's not doing it for me. So let me just put this down. Let me see what other sorry silk I've got here, because I might just find a different colour actually looks better here. So hold on a moment. Got some blue. This is very, yeah, very turquoisey, but I don't know. This is very tricky to find one. I mean, that's not too bad. I'll just tear this one down. I don't know. You know, I don't want to kind of put something down that then later I think, oh my goodness, what was I thinking with that one? But, you know, I do think the sari silk kind of ruffled across that pocket would look very pretty. Just having a look to see if I've got ribbon that might be better. No, not really. Oh, this is really hard. Really hard to decide. Just going to have a look in that little bag that I take to my mum's house in case I've got any more sari silk floating around in there in that colour green. I've got two little pouches that I take when I go to my mum's, so just going to look in each. No, nothing. I've got purple. Oh, purple is not looking good on there at all. It's like, what? Where did you get the idea of purple from? No, I know I say this all the time, but as soon as I put red and green together, I just have like a Christmas thing going on, which, yeah, I do not want to have a Christmas thing going on with this at all. So, right, let's glue this down. Now, do we want to back this onto something, actually, just before I glue it down? Let me just see. I think maybe it does need to be. So I'm just going to literally back that onto here. So, okay. Okie dokie. Right. Just glue this down. So this is just some of that damask paper, but I've just coffee dyed the back of it. So yeah, we can just put that down onto there. Okay, right, squish that down. Oh dear, nearly lost my blue flower there. I lost one of those the other day in one of the videos that I had been making, and yeah, weirdly it's still not appeared. Well, unless that was it. Maybe that was it, and not the one that I thought it was. I don't know. Anyway, right, so we have squished this down, just cut this frame out. And again, this actually, you know, took this to quite a different kind of look, didn't it? I don't know about you guys, but when I put the background into the frame, it really transformed the look of this quite a lot, because straight away there's much less green visible on that pocket, which, you know, doesn't sound like it would make so much difference, does it? But actually it was a massive difference, I thought. So, you know, goes to show sometimes because it would have been easy to just glue the frame down and be kind of lazy and miss this step out. But actually, the change was massive. You know, the appearance was a massive difference for having the background. So, you know, I'm not necessarily saying it was better, but it's definitely, you know, made a big difference, hasn't it? So it goes to show how sometimes, you know, missing out a stage, it will alter the whole finished appearance of your project. So, you know, and that's fine. Sometimes it might alter it for the better, but sometimes it maybe wouldn't. So, or maybe not even better or worse, but you know, it will just add a different look. So right, we've got that. Now this blue, obviously, like I say, it is a bit of a departure from everything else that we've been using, but I think it will look okay, and especially if we have that label up there. So I'm just going to use my hot glue and ruffle this across the top of that pocket. Okay, so let me just take that end off there, because it had like some purple thread hanging out, well, pinky purple, which again, then, you know, if that showed, it felt like then it was just yet another colour that I'd added, which, you know, I have added quite a few different colours now already, so that would probably be a bit too mad to have yet something else again. So right, let's put that down. Okay. Just quickly glue this bit. Okie doke, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Okay, last bit. And I know I've said this lots of times before, but honestly, I mean, you know, this hot glue is just amazing to do your sari silk ruffles. I haven't ever tried it with a wet glue. I don't know whether it would work. You know, if it did, it would definitely be a time-consuming process, because you would kind of have to squish it up, then hold it clamped shut with something, or pressing on it, you know. Whereas the hot glue, it just enables you to be able to do these kinds of things very, very quickly. Okay, right. Liking how this is all looking so far. So we've got this little bunch of flowers, and I kind of thought that little rosebud also looked good on there. And then up here, we're going to just have this and this like that. And then do we want maybe did we say this one here actually, or were we going to have this on the other page? We might have even been going to have it on the other page, so yeah, I'll just kind of leave that where it is, I think. So we just put this rosebud down like that. Okay, press that down, and then okie dokie. Then the little yellow kind of basket of flowers. Yep, just have there. Like that. Oh my goodness, how yummy and lovely does that look? Yeah, looking really, really, really nice. Okay, and then up here, just going to have this little label. I mean, just these types of things, you know, it's bringing that turquoise of that sari silk over to here, which, you know, otherwise would maybe look a bit strange, but now it's kind of brought it in, so it doesn't look too out of place. So again, just going to glue this lace down here like that. So, you know, although this is one of our plain journal pages, and you may be thinking, well, it's not very plain now, you would be right, but we have got a massive pocket here, although I've now glued it closed with my sari silk ruffle. There we go. You've got a massive pocket here, which obviously you can put things in. So although we've kind of covered up the journaling space on this side, you've still got journaling space on this side, and you've got a big pocket here. So yeah, definitely you know, it's still a very usable page, and you know, we haven't really lost any journaling space at all. In fact, we've probably gained some because we can put, you know, multiple things in here. Might just put that butterfly down just on there to just kind of finish that off. So I probably have run out of time now to do the other pocket, so yeah, I'll have to either do that in slow time, or we can come back and do it obviously another day. But just to kind of show you how this is going to look, you know, if that were now placed into the journal, I mean, I kind of think that blends quite nicely now with actually most of the pages. So even though we've incorporated the turquoisey colour, sari silk, it's still flowing, isn't it? It's still looking, you know, as part of the journal. I hope that the amethysty colour is going to as well. We shall see. But yeah, really hope that you like the little plainer sort of journal pages that we've done. And yeah, have a great day, everybody. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.